Welcome to Granger Talk, the podcast where we explore the exciting events and initiatives at LaGrange High School. I'm your host, Jamie Bozeman, joined by my co-hosts, Aiden Blackwell and Keita Placid. Together we'll be your guides through our Spring Happening series. Today's focus is on LaGrange High School golf program. Our guest today is Coach Ben Thrasher, who has been leading our golf program for the last 5 years. Coach Thrasher, welcome to Granger Talk.
Hey, great to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Coach, we just want to start off and just kind of know a little bit about you. Can you kind of tell the listeners a bit about yourself, your background in golf, and your journey to becoming the golf coach here at LaGrange High School?
I've been coaching high school golf for 15 years. Played high school golf all 4 years in high school. Passionate about the game of golf and growing the game. And, I started out as a middle school / ninth grade coach at Camden County, coaching the middle school and ninth grade golfers there. Then we got the head golf job at Peach County when I went to Peach County, and I've been a head golf coach everywhere I've been since then.
You know, we all talk sometimes about where we've been and how long we've been there, and obviously most of us have been here quite some time. And we can kind of remember like what the golf program was like when we got here. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, our program right now is so far beyond, in my opinion, where we were to where we are right now. Can you kind of give us what your vision is whenever you first of all, whenever you took over the program here at LHS, but then even moving forward, what that looks like for you?
Yeah, when I got to LaGrange, I had been told already that the potential's there for it to be something pretty special. It just needed, somebody to come in and be willing to put in some work. And that's exactly what I found. I found a community, a golf community that supports LaGrange High School golf. I'm very blessed to have the support of the community and the golfing community especially, from the guys at Highland Country Club to just the parents in our community. But it's more about what really pushed it, I believe, is more of what LaGrange is. Because when I got here right when COVID hit. So the first year was kind of a wash. We didn't play any matches. We had a couple of practices. But we got shut down in March of 2020. And so we didn't really get to do anything. So that gave me some time to really kind of look around. And the one thing that I really took away from being in LaGrange was our baseball team hosts a huge tournament, and our tennis team hosts 2 huge tournaments, one being in Jekyll Island. And I was like, if those 2 programs can do that, why can't we do that? So that was really the catalyst to push for our tournament that we now host, the 3-day tournament that we host, and it's the only 3-day tournament in the state of Georgia. It may be the only 3-day tournament in the Southeast, or I'm sure somebody else does it somewhere, but I know it's the only one in Georgia. And it was really more about LaGrange trying to be the standard around the state. And, I just took what baseball does and what tennis does and said, why can't we do that too? And so that's how that came about. And I think that tournament is what really turned the corner to make our program kind of stand out on the state level. And we haven't competed for a state championship as far as scores go, but we are now one of the leading tournament hosts in the state. So I think that tournament, and again, that's a testament to what's been done here prior to me getting here.
So talk about that just a little bit, since you've kind of led into that, and what that tournament looks like. It's a 3-day tournament. The courses that our kids play on, the type of competition that you're looking to bring in, because I know when you mentioned the baseball tournament, you mentioned Coach Moore in the tennis tournament. It's not like we just go out there and say, hey, come one, come all. It's kind of like it's by invitation. So tell us how you go about determining the teams that go into those tournaments and then the courses that our kids play on.
Yeah, right. So when I came about doing it, I really bounced the idea off of Kurt Hitzman, who is the coach. He's not anymore, but he was the coach at Carrollton, and he was the president of the Georgia High School Golf Coaches Association. So he's a big figure in high school golf in the state. And we were talking it was actually the par 3 tournament that Troup County hosts at the par 3 course. And I was just talking to him. I was like, hey, I got this vision. He's like, man, that sounds nuts. He said, but if you're willing to do the groundwork, he said, I'll help you any way I can. So I was like, well, I would need you to help me get teams to buy in. And he said, fine, if you get it together, he said, you can count us in, and I will do everything I can to get teams from around the state. And he did. So I was able to put it together, get the logistics worked out, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. But he helped me reach out to schools that were state powers. So the first year we hosted a tournament, we had Carrollton, Johns Creek, North Oconee, teams that won the state championship that year or played for a chance to win the state championship. The individual winner that year in the first tournament was a kid that signed with Virginia, and he won it in a playoff against the number one kid in the state of Georgia, whose name is Luke Keening, and he's the number one golfer at Georgia Southern right now. So the caliber of teams that are here from the very beginning is really second to none outside the state tournament, in my opinion. We've had Northgate has won this tournament 2 out of the last 3 years. They have finished second in the state in 5A, I guess, the last 2 years. They probably should have won it, but they lost in the playoff 1 year. And we've got another great field this year. So I'm really excited about it. The format is what really makes it unique. I based the format of it off of what the NCAA tournament is. So I looked at it and was like, well, we got to have a scaled down version of what the NCAA tournament does, and it's really the only one like it around. So we do 2 days at Callaway Gardens. On Thursday, we play 18 holes at Lakeview. On Friday, we play 18 holes at Mountain View, and those 2 rounds are both stroke play team events. So the teams will play just like we'd play any other tournament around, and the top 8 teams after those 2 days advance to a match play portion of the tournament, which we host at Highland Country Club. And then say like 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, and so forth. They play a 9-hole quarterfinal match. They play a 9-hole semifinal match, the winners do. And then the winners of the semifinal, they play an 18-hole championship match all Saturday.
You know, to me, it's not hard to, when you talk about the golfing community here, to get behind something like that and to support it. You know, you start taking a look at some of the other, programs that we have here in the county, whether it be whatever high school you're at or whatnot, but those ones that are just kind of those marginal programs, and you look kind of behind the driving force of that and saying, are they really kind of looking outside the box, trying to think of ways to, put that particular program on the pedestal, and I'm glad that, when you come in here, it's almost kind of like COVID was a blessing in disguise for golf in that manner, because it gave you some time to come in here, kind of assess the situation, and then kind of put some, legwork in and have your dream come to fruition in that sense. So,
and that's got to be a lot of legwork, which leads me to my next question I was going to ask is about your staff and who all helps you, official, unofficial. Like, tell us about who all you work with and who.
Yeah, I'm probably the most blessed high school golf coach in the state. I've got, I think, 5 guys or 4 guys and a lady that help with our program, and I couldn't do any of what we do without them. There are days when I'll show up to practice and I won't even be on the course. I'll be talking to the general manager at the club or the pro at the club, or I'll be on a phone call. There's days where I have to go to the bank during after school hours, and those the other coaches. First, we got Coach Whitfield, who helps run the boys program. He's essentially the head coach of the boys program right now. Alan Crawford, who is a community coach, that's the Young Life director in LaGrange. He has been assistant coach here, I think, for like 16 years or something crazy. His presence in the golf program is, it's irreplaceable. The work he does with those guys, and he has done every year I've been here. We also have Heath Taylor, who stepped in this year, and he's taken over the middle school / JV program. We've got another community coach, Sam Rogers, who played at LaGrange College, who's helping us out this year with the JV and young guys. And Kelsey Platt, who has been the middle school coach the last 2 years. She's now the head girls coach. She helped Coach Whitfield with the girls last year, and now she's the head coach for the girls this year. So it's just that those coaches do such a phenomenal job of taking the work off of me as far as practice and that sort of thing, that allows me to do a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, the administrative part of the job that I couldn't get done if they weren't there.
You talked about JV, your feeder program in middle school, is what Keto was going to ask about too. And then, so talk about the program itself. What do the teams look like? The players, the girls and the boys, with the layers of it, like JV, varsity, 8th grade, practicing together. Talk just about like the structure of the program. Yeah,
it's we've got about 32, 33 total players in our program.
Where is that from? Like when you got here?
We had about 8 when I first got here. And we had 8 boys and probably about 5 girls when I first got here. And so I knew right away that in order to sustain success that we had to get the young guys and the young girls involved. And I was also blessed to walk into a situation where we had a really good group of young talent when I got here. The group that are sophomores now, and I'll talk more about them later. They are sophomores now, but they were really good golfers when I got here. Like, they weren't polished yet, but they've had success, and they were committed to being golf players in no other sport. So that they helped get the young group going and kind of create some excitement with their friends. But now we've got about 34 golfers in the program, boys and girls. We've got what I consider 6, maybe 7 guys that are our varsity tournament team. Those guys will play in the 18-hole tournaments that we host or play in around the state. And that's all they do. They don't play in the 9-hole matches. They just play in those big tournaments. Then we've got the next 12 or so guys that are our varsity JV guys, however you want to look at them. They're really varsity players, but they'll play in the JV tournaments, in the 9-hole varsity matches. Like this past week, they played in a 9-hole match versus Upson Lee, versus Upson Lee's top 6 guys. We played some of our more inexperienced guys to get them that experience in those 9-hole matches. In middle school, I think we've got 5 middle school players. They're 8th graders that are playing up with JV right now. Those guys, we're in a JV league, so they will play in those JV league matches. So we've got some 9-hole matches for the high school guys to get experience, and then we've got some 18-hole JV league stuff where the 8th graders and some of the other high school guys can get some competition experience. Girl-wise, then we have 14 girls, if I remember off the top of my head correctly. And Coach Platt's done a phenomenal job, Coach Whitfield last year, of growing those numbers for the girls program. We've got some girls that are young and excited, and they really have done a good job of taking the coaching that they've been given and really focusing on golf. Now, golf's not all of their, I don't know if I think it's just one of their first sports. Just one of them only plays golf, and the rest of them do other things, cheerleading, softball. But when it's golf season, they're pretty focused, and they don't, they take it seriously. They show their practice every day, and they travel too. Now, Coach Platt's done a good job with, she and I did a good job of giving them a good schedule to go around. Like they're going up to Oconee County Monday, and they're going up to Walton County tomorrow. So they're going to be traveling and playing some good teams.
So, Coach, take a sip of your drink right there. You've been talking, brother.
No,
We're memorized by what you're saying right now, or mesmerized, sorry. But 2 things, I heard some stories about you all on the golf course. One thing, where do you all practice, and how do the kids keep scores on game day as well as, because you can't be everywhere with all the kids, so how do they keep their scores on game day, and is it an honor system? Right. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we practice and play most of our matches at Highland Country Club, but this year we're hosting, and we can talk about this a little bit too, we're hosting 7 tournaments this year. Wow. Which is wearing me out. Our first one is next Tuesday, and we're hosting all of them except for some of them at the Fields Golf Club this year. It's the first time we've used the Fields for in-season events. So we're hosting the Granger Shootout Tuesday at the Fields. Then next week we'll host the Lady Granger Invitational at the Fields, and then the week after that we'll host a JV Granger at the Fields. So we are using both courses. We house our practice the boys practice at Highland Country Club when they're not competing. The girls practice at the Fields at Highland, and they use the indoor swing center facility, which, Rob has done a phenomenal job there of opening up his place for the girls. They go once a week to the hitting bay and use the TrackMan stuff, and he has welcomed them with open arms. So we're blessed again with the opportunity we have and the courses and the facilities that we have in LaGrange and the support that we have. As far as scoring goes on the field, on the course, we use the GHSA golf app. Georgia High School Association purchased this electronic scoring system. I think last year was our first year using it. So every golfer has the app on their phone. They keep the scores in their phone, and so it's the leaderboards automatically generated and updated as they play. which is really good for coaches because we can keep up with the scores live and as they happen. And if there's a problem, we can run out there and fix it on our end. But we can keep up with it. And as far as the honor system goes, golf is always about that. There's no rule officials except for the state tournament. It's a lot like tennis where you got to call penalties on yourself, and it's called the gentleman's game for a reason. So,
before you go on, have you ever been in let's say a close match and things seem really, it's getting a little edgy, and you say, hey, the call you made there, that's not a four. So has it ever been that dicey out there?
And can you name the team? And
well, I'll say, last year in the area tournament, we expected to have a chance to win the area tournament last year. And for those of you that don't know, in golf, we don't have a region tournament. We have an area tournament where 2 different regions come together and they play a tournament at the end of the year, and the top 3 teams out of the area tournament advance to state. So we hosted the area tournament last year. We're also hosting it this year. And we knew we had a chance to win the area tournament last year. And, it came down to some close calls, but Stars Mill, who were the defending state champions at the time, beat us by 3 shots. And, so you keep an eye on it and you know what your players have got to do. And it didn't necessarily come down to the last guy, because Saxon Chastain, who's a sophomore for our team, he was the last guy on the course for us, and he won the tournament individually. He shot 72. So, we knew by that time that we weren't going to win because Saxon wasn't going to get to 67 or 68 where we needed him to. And but we knew it was close the whole time. We just needed some of the other guys to come through with some better numbers. But going back a couple of years, when I was the coach at Peach County, I had to disqualify a player, one of my own players. He was playing a par 3. He hit his first ball in the water. And he had a second ball like off in the bunker or something, and he picked up. He's just like, I'm going to make double par, so I'm going to pick up. Well, he didn't finish the hole, and the rule is you've got to finish the hole or at least hit the number of shots that is double par. You can't just pick up because you're mad. And he picked up, and as soon as he picked up and went to the next hole, I just pulled him to the side and I said, you're going to have to be disqualified because you didn't finish the hole. So initially he would have ended up signing an incorrect scorecard. Mm-hmm. So I disqualified him on the spot, and we finished the match without him.
So, Coach, let's take a look at this season. Talk to us a little bit about how the season's going right now, and then some of the key players that we have on both the boys and the girls side. Okay.
We're young in the season. We're the last sport to get started. We're the last Georgia High School Association sport to get started. We don't start practice till the end of February. I think we started practice February 28th this year. January 28th. So we started the end of January, and our first match can't be until the last full week of February. So we played in a tournament down in southeast Georgia, down in Camden County. We traveled about 6 hours down there, and we played against 20 of some of the best teams in the state with Benedictine, Frederica Academy. Tiff County's been good, and we were able to finish 7th in that tournament. And when you look at it, we finished 7th, and we finished behind Frederica Academy, Benedictine's 1 and 2 team, and they've got 2 teams that can probably compete for a state championship in 4A. They've got that; they're just that good, and they're probably the favorite to win the state, along with North Oconee and Westminster. But losing to Benedictine is, you look at that and you say, congratulations, y'all are just better than us. Right. And the same with Frederica. Frederica's got a player on their team that shot 64 in that tournament as a sophomore last year. This year he didn't play as well, but the capabilities there. His dad's on the PGA Tour. Their home course is Sea Island, out of St. Simon. So they're a team that's fully loaded with talent. And then there were some other really good teams. Colquitt County's always really good, a 7A program. They finished 3rd, I think, in the tournament. And the team that finished right above us, that finished 6th in the tournament, was Harris County. And, Harris is right down the road from us, but they have one of the better 5A programs in the state. They finished 3rd last year in the state. They had a kid sign a Division I scholarship, and they've got 2 or 3 guys this year that are capable of doing that too. So we finished 5 shots behind them, which I thought we didn't play up to our standard. And for us to finish 5 shots behind them, not playing as well as I think we can, just kind of speaks to where we are right now. I think that, we were about 10, 15 shots away from where we should have been. And so I think we while we're not thrilled to death with a 7th place finish, I think that's a good litmus test for where we need to be going forward.
And then talk a little bit about some of the players on both the girls and the boys' side specifically, and just kind of who they are and what kind of some expectations are for those players as we enter this season.
Okay, the girls, I would say they're number one, because we rank our players 1 through 5 or 1 through 6 when we seed them for tournaments. I would say the number one player for the girls is probably Hudson Wood. Hudson is one of our star softball players. I know she hit like 12 home runs or something this year in softball. So, I mean, she's a power hitter, and she's the same way on the golf course. She can hit the ball really well off the tee, and she's gotten better in her short game. Just the other day, I saw her stick an approach shot about 2 feet on one of the holes in the Tuesday's match against Upton Lee. She was also our low medalist at area and state last year for the girls. So I think she's probably the leader as far as on course goes. We've also got Caroline Brown, who works really, really hard. She's done a really good job of getting better. Golf is her singular focus, so she's all about getting better and improving, and she's done that. And she's probably, her and Hudson are probably battling each other every day for that top spot, that top seed on the team. Other players, we've got Katie Hale, who works really hard at getting better. Her granddad's been instrumental in helping her and some of the other girls in the program. I think her granddad was a touring pro at one time, or a swing coach or something, maybe both. So she's been a great asset to our team, and he has as well. We also have Sydney Jennings. Sydney works her fanny off. She's out there with some of her family friends all the time, getting better. And we've got a couple other newcomers. Zoe Thompson is another softball player that's playing golf. She didn't play last year. She played the year before. So it's good to have her back. We also have Shelby Siggers, who's playing this year for the first time, and that group of girls is just doing a really good job of showing up every day with great attitudes, getting better, and I'm excited to see where they grow as far as on the course scores and how they come along as a group, because they're all coming back. None of them are seniors. So they're all back, and I'm just excited to see how they grow as the season goes and what they can do next year in some of their senior years and their junior years. Boys-wise, like I said, we've got about 18, 19 boys. And the tournament guys, the guys that you'll see and hear a lot about, obviously Saxon, I mentioned him earlier. Saxon's by far away, he's our leader. He's just a sophomore, but he's the leader of the program. He goes about his approach to the game, his approach to practicing, his approach to preparation is just unmatched. And I think everybody on our program would admit that and agree to that. He shot 4 over in the 18-hole tournament down in Camden, shot 76. And then last Tuesday he shot 2 under 34 in the 9-hole match against Upton Lee. So he also won the area tournament last year with an even par 72. He won the Upton Lee Invitational last year with a 2 under 70. He was actually 4 under with 2 to play and bogeyed the last 2 holes. He was about to set the tournament record, but he bogeyed the last 2 holes. He won the Granger Shootout last year with a 2 under 70, and he also was named first-team All-State last year as a freshman. I think he was the last one to be All-State player since Charlie Martin a couple of years ago, like 8 years ago. Yeah. It's been a while, like 8 or 9 years. Yeah. He played at Georgia Southern. So that just kind of shows you the caliber of player that Saxon is, to be voted on by the coaches in the state as a first-team All-State player. Shows his potential and how good he was last year. He was the highest finishing freshman in the state last year in the state tournament. Wow. I think he finished 8th or 9th in the state as a freshman. And other guys on the team, we've got seniors Ben Woodham and Ty Ormsby. Both of those guys are leaders in their own right. They lead. Ben leads by example. He's a hard worker. He's a head down, go to work every day. Ty is super talented. As far as golf goes, he's got all the tools. It's just a matter of him putting it together, which he did down in Camden. He also shot 76 down there. And this year he's focused solely on golf. He's been a part-time golfer, part-time soccer player. So, it's good to have him full-time on the golf course this year. He's matured so much over the last 3 years, 3 or 4 years. He showed he was a different person down in the Camden tournament. And I joke with him all the time. It's great to have him be his true self, and that is going to be an asset for our program. Outside of those guys, we're young. We've got Hugh Kersey, who's a sophomore. He's capable of shooting in the high 70s, mid 70s. Charlie Pitts, same way. He can shoot in the high 70s, low 80s if he puts his mind to it and shows up in the right mindset. So we've got a good group of those guys that are tournament ready. We got a new kid. He's actually a homeschool student that's and you can, Coach Bozeman, tell me I don't remember the law, the GHSA rule on that, but he's able to take advantage of the one line of enrollment at LaGrange High School as a homeschool student. His name's William Petrus, and he's got unlimited talent. He's able to go out there and work as a homeschool student. He can kind of create his own schedule, and he's put in a lot of work, and he's made our tournament squad as a freshman. So a lot of credit to him for his work he's put in and to put himself in that situation. And I'd be remiss to not mention Grady. Grady Westmoreland's a baseball player, and I probably won't see him at the golf course until maybe once before the area tournament, but he'll probably be our second or third best player. If he was only a golfer, he would probably be our best player. He and Saxon are probably equivalent talent-wise. Grady's a little bit longer off the tee. Saxon's a little bit more astute around the green and stuff. But I think the world of Grady and his ability. And I'm thrilled to get him when we get him, and he makes us better. And everybody on our team knows it, and they're excited when he's there. It's really a cool dynamic. We don't have that. He's never here. Why does he get to play? The guys know because he works. He plays on the weekends. He goes any day. I guarantee you he's playing today. When we're not in school, I promise you he's playing golf somewhere. That's just the guy he is. He's a gym rat on the golf course. And, you got to have those kind of guys. And his work ethic he gets respect from the guys around him because of that. And we're blessed. We're blessed with talent. We're blessed with hard workers. And the young guys are watching them work. And so they're only going to get better because of them.
That's like you mentioned blessed. I've been blessed to be able to teach a number of the kids you just mentioned, and they are phenomenal, just people, like students, athletes, just people in general. Like, I'm blessed to have taught them, and you're blessed to be able to coach them. They're just great people to be around.
So, Coach, your sport lends itself to the idea of being mental, individualistic to some degree. So what do you do to bring your players chemistry? And when I say this, do you find that time where you and the kids outside the game just go to a tournament, like a high-profile tournament, and just watch and observe or put them in that atmosphere to see what it really takes to be that next-level player?
Yeah, we've got a group of guys, especially the tournament guys, that understand that they've been around the game. Like I mentioned earlier, that when I got here, those guys were good. They just weren't polished yet. So, like Saxon and Hugh and Grady, those guys grew up playing tournament golf as juniors, as kids, and so they understand what pressure feels like. Saxon's won a couple of state championships as an individual through U.S. Kids and through whatever the other tours he played. And one of them, he had to hole out on 18 with a chip shot to do so. So he's been in those pressure situations. And in that same vein, those guys go to PGA Tour events. Like they've grown up going to those events. So they even go. I think some of them have watched some college events in person. So they've kind of immersed themselves in that. So it's kind of been done organically in that sense. What we do a good job, I feel like, of when we travel. We travel with a purpose of, it's not just golf, it's about growth and community. So we go out to eat a lot. We spend a lot of time together. And with only 6 guys or 5 guys traveling, that kind of just happens naturally. So when we travel, it's a small group that they really grow close together. It's not like we're traveling with 115 like football or even 30 something like basketball does. In baseball, there's just 5 or 6 of us, and so we go eat, we cut up. This summer, most of the guys that are on the varsity tournament group, Went to our booster club alumni event down in Sea Island. So we were gone down there for 3 days, and they just cut up in the pool, just having fun. I think 5 of the 6 tournament guys were on that trip. So they were down there with their families, down there with some former Granger golfers. We just spent 3 or 4 days down there playing golf, hanging out at the hotel, and just goofing off and growing closer together. So that one event is kind of like it just started this year, but it's a way for us to pull past alumni in, former Granger golfers, some of the community members that give so much of their time, energy, and effort with volunteering or financial support. It's just a way to get them involved in part of our guys and be around them playing the game.
Well, Coach, I'm going to thank you for this time. We're going to get you one more question right here, but I think it's really important. Listening to you talk about our program and the opportunities that our kids have. I don't know of another program at LaGrange High School where our student body, our student athletes have the opportunity to go to the places that our kids are going to and compete. I mean, I go to just a regular golf course. I mean, I'm like crazy about green fees, and I can't imagine what it costs, holistically for a season for our boys and our girls program. So if you don't mind, take a minute, please, and talk a little bit about our sponsors, those people directly that help us out, that help you out, and who have contributed that time, that energy, their resources to helping out our program. And then if somebody's not a sponsor but they want to get involved, how do they go about doing that?
All right, yeah, I appreciate you asking that, because what we do is very unique. There's a lot of high schools that don't get to do the things that we do golf-wise. There's probably only maybe a handful or 2 of teams that get to do the travel the way we do and play in tournaments the way we do. And then none of that would be possible without any kind of financial support. We're a zero revenue program. We don't have gate money. We don't sell tickets. We have to generate our own money through support and sponsorships. And we've probably got 10 or so big time sponsors that really, really support us tremendously and have been for over the years. Michael Stogner at LaGrange Toyota being probably the number 1 supporter. He gives us an opportunity to host the big tournament every year. Along with him, Don Miller and his wife Robbie, what he's done over the years is he latched on to our 3-day tournament. We hosted dinner on Friday night afterwards, and he covers the cost of that dinner along with the breakfast and lunch the next day. And I was telling Coach Whitfield the other day, without his support, we couldn't host that tournament and do it correctly. We wouldn't be able to have the teams come over for dinner, because that's not cheap, and we don't make a dime really off of that tournament. We have teams pay their entry fee, but we really don't make money off of that tournament. It's not a fundraiser for us. It's more about, let's showcase LaGrange, let's showcase Highland Country Club, and that's what it is. And Don Miller really, with his support and paying for the dinner and the breakfast and the lunch, we're able to make it not just a golf tournament. It's an event. And so without him, that tournament wouldn't be where it is, and we probably wouldn't keep getting the caliber of teams that we get. Along with them, we have Access Dental Milling. They're tremendous support with Derek Woodham. We've got Matt Orr, who's a tremendous golf supporter in the community through his insurance company. LaGrange Car Wash is a great supporter. Mose of LaGrange is going to help us feed some of the coaches throughout the season. Chick-fil-A on the Parkway, same way they donate food for us, they give to the players when we host tournaments. Like, he's given us 120 boxes for next Tuesday's tournament. He provided the boxes for our last tournament, our fundraiser tournament that we hosted last month. Rob Bowman does a tremendous job with that and given to us for that. The practice swing center, I mentioned them earlier. He lets our girls come for free throughout the year. He lets our guys, if it's bad weather, if we had bad weather for 3 or 4 days, our guys would probably take advantage of that too. So he does a tremendous job with the indoor swing center. We also got Louis Office Supply, insurance with Jonathan Arrington. He's not just a Big Blue Nation guy. He supports other sports as well, and golf is one of them. His support's been tremendous over the last 3 or 4 years. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Highland Country Club in the fields. Those two courses really just open up for us. They don't charge us much, if any, to host events there. They kind of just say, hey, we do it for the kids, the love of the game, the growth of the game, and we're blessed in that. I know specifically of other situations where teams are paying, $3,000, $5,000 a year, maybe not that much in some other cases, to play, to utilize the access to courses, and thankfully we don't have to deal with that. And we've got two courses that are just willing to give of their space to us, and it really helps us out because again, we're not a revenue generating sport, so that would really put a strap on us if we had to. And there's others too. I mean, I could go on and on. We probably have.
I'll give you one more chance to really call out there somebody who's been supporting you from day one. I'll give you a hint. I know you have a couple kids, and for you being on the on the park and you leaving number one at home, so you better go ahead and say thank you.
There's absolutely no doubt about that. My wife Megan is a tremendous, not financial supporter, but she is a tremendous supporter of my time as a golf coach and football coach here. And I'm blessed. My kids love the game of golf, thankfully. So they do tag along with me a lot. But she still, she'll leave her job at like 4:30, 5 o'clock every day, and she'll run get our youngest son out of daycare if on days where I can't do it. And obviously feeding them while I'm tied up. Like Tuesday, I'm gonna be tied up at the fields all day. I'll be there all day and all until dark. And so those times, it's not possible without the support at home, and every coach knows that, and every coach understands that. But I don't know if everybody else sees that and understands the time that it takes away from them, and it stinks to a degree. But when they're able to be around, it's awesome, and I love having them around, and they're just as much of a part of it as anything. So.
Well, it's really key. I mean, I appreciate you giving all those sponsors and the people that help. And people talk about how special LaGrange High School is, and it's the community and the family and the sports and the academics and things like that. But it's not just the people that are in this building on a daily basis. I mean, there's so many people that are on the outside that give of their time and their resources, and we appreciate them, so very much. So I've been around Coach Keto for a little while, and Coach Keto, when I watch him and I listen to him watch players play. I mean, when somebody does something that's special, his deal is, it's top class. That's top class. And he goes on. He doesn't just throw that term around loosely. So I'm not going to throw this around loosely. But when I hear you talk about our program, our golf program, and what it was, what it is, what it's becoming, and what the possibilities are, I mean, it truly is top class. And I don't know of another program in the state of Georgia or in the Southeast that's as top class as what we have. And Coach, I can't thank you enough for what you've done to really transform and just build this program. And I can't wait to see really, over the next couple of years how this thing gets even bigger and better. So thank you for everything that you do for LaGrange High School. Thank you for everything that you do for this program and the student athletes that you serve on a daily basis.
Well, I appreciate it. As a coach, you never want to just go in there half-heartedly or not, try to do the best job you can. And once I came up with the vision for this tournament and, hosting the other tournaments too. I mean, I know Coach Crocker and Coach Pleasance, the two golf coaches prior to me, they did a really good job. They hosted the Granger Invitational. I had never hosted a tournament prior to my time here. As a coach, I never hosted a tournament. Any of the other schools I played in or coached at. And so I leaned on Coach Crocker especially because he was the last coach prior to me taking over. I leaned on him to all right, so y'all have the Granger Invitational every year. What does it look like? Who do you invite? So that's how it started. I just learned from him, learned from the other coaches around the state, and all I did was just jump off a cliff and take a risk. Right. I was willing to try something that nobody else was doing, and it took off like wildfire. Thank goodness. And it's something that honestly I'm proud of it. And I think our whole entire program is, and I've got, and I need to mention them too. I've got a group of guys that are my booster board, who are 100% supportive in everything that we're doing. Bo Bradford is our booster treasurer. He's a former Granger golfer. He's an avid golfer as it is. he is 100% behind everything that we do, and I talk to him more than anybody else probably during the season because I'm always asking, hey, what can I do here? You know, where do we stand financially? Can I get this? Can we do that? So I talk to him quite a bit. He's probably ready to block my number when the season's over with, and he's got a child on the way, so he's going to be tied up with that, and I'm thrilled to death for him, welcoming baby number 2, and then we've got Derek Woodham, who's also on our board, Doug Kersey is on our board, and Ronnie Chastain is our president. So those guys give us tremendous support and just they give the okay or the seal of approval for almost for everything that we do. And, you know, without those guys, you know, being at the beck and call of my text messages or phone calls, you know, we wouldn't be able to get this thing going the way we have. So very, very thrilled to have them as part of our support staff.
Awesome, Coach. Well, look, that's going to wrap it up for today's edition of Granger Talk. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed the discussion as much as we did. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning. And as always, go Grangers.
Go Grangers.